Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about the recent event that took place regarding the whole stop and search with Butler. And I wanted to say how this incident, along others, shows exactly why black folk, we will never be taken seriously when it comes to race, ever again. It's another day and another incident, and it just gets better and better for people just to use situations like this to completely ignore true injustice and to completely ignore when things actually are racist because of situations like this. Now, we've all seen the video. Now, when I looked at the video, and I'm not the only one who saw this and commented on this, but she's smiling, giddy as fuck. She couldn't wait to be pulled over. You could just tell. She must have thought Christmas had come early. I'm sure people like her, David Lammy, Diane Abbott, they just pray. They must pray to the heavens, asking for incidents like this to drop from heaven, like manna from heaven, just so they can actually stay relevant in the eyes of the public, talking about race, talking about institutional racism, talking about implicit bias. Because if they don't have a topic talking about race, if they aren't talking about situations like this where inflame racial tensions, guess what? People would see him for what they truly are in the eyes of the public. And to be fair, a lot of people are seeing that right now. And that is, these are useless MPs. They have nothing to offer their constituents. And all they do, if anything, undermines the whole argument of whether diversity and inclusion is actually a good thing in this country. Funny stuff, that. Now, I want to understand this. I mean, I'm trying to understand, how is it just because a police officer stops you, this automatically becomes a racial incident? Now, we've heard Dawn Butler's side of the story, and we've also heard a little bit of the Met Police Force's side of the story, in which the situation goes, the car was technically registered in North Yorkshire, was driving in Hackney, therefore they pulled it over because they suspected, again, that the car had been stolen. So as far as they're concerned, they sort of made a mistake, but they didn't act anything. They acted fairly and properly. They stopped, talked to the people, talked to the driver, talked to the passenger, and it was on their way in no time. But the thing is, what kills me is this. How in God, we've also heard that the car windows were tinted. So how in God's earth can they justify, or Dawn Butler justify saying, just because they were black, they were stopped? And keep this in mind as well. They're in Hackney. Now, if anyone knows anything about Hackney, they know the racial demographics of that place, would know, listen, if you're going to stop if you can stop a car, if a police officer is going to stop a car, then likely chances it's going to be someone who's not white. Therefore, are we saying that every single time a police officer does their job, it's always going to be racist? Is that how we're going these days? Is this what we're looking at? Is this what racism is these days to a lot of black people? But with that all being said, one of the things that also gets me is we're talking about an MP, a member of parliament, who, instead of following protocol, she couldn't wait. She couldn't wait to tweet about this incident. You saw it like a typical young millennial. When something which she feels has gone wrong against them, the first thing what they do, go to social media, talk about how things have been this has happened to me today, I'm going to release the details. And guess what? She releases the video, which we already know what's going to happen once you release it on social media. It's going to be trial, judge, execution, jury, all by social media. So, in that regards, I got to ask the question, how does an MP who's been in the job for a long time, she's an experienced MP now, she's not new, how does she get away with something like this? How does she get away with not only calling the police institutionally racist just off the strength of being stopped, without the proper protocol being followed, without any sort of investigation being taken into place? Because again, there's a protocol regarding this sort of stuff. If you're unhappy with why you were stopped, you take the badge number, you take everything down, you take the names, everything like that at all, and you follow it up properly. She's an MP now, so I'm pretty sure she can get things done quite quickly. But no, what does she do? As typical millennial snowflakes do, go straight to social media, crying, trying to get everyone on his side, release the video. So guess what? By the time the investigation already starts, it doesn't even matter. It's going to be swept away with racism, bias, issues with racism, we're not all the same, etc., etc., etc. And the funniest thing is as well, she actually thought that she was going to be looking very, very good. She thought that the video was going to show us the painter was the victim. She was stopped unfairly. But actually, when you look at the video, she was obnoxious. She was rude. She didn't let the officers speak. And she was just typical. She was representative of a typical MP who thinks she's above the law. And at the end of the day, again, like I keep saying, she thought she made that look. She thought that video made her look good. It didn't. Everyone thought she was just. I can't even say the word on it. Now, we have become the boy who cried wolf, and I'm sick of it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of black people are sick of the constant race baiting. I'm a firm believer in when a serious racial incident takes place, then yes, we can call racism. But at what point do we understand an incident which may be wrong but not racist, or a racist incident? Because at the end of the day, every time I turn around, anything that happens to a black person, right or wrong, seems to be racist, just of the strength of the person who did the suspected wrong thing not being black. So if we was to use that logic, if a white person was to be wronged by a black person, is that not also racist? At what point do we say it's just a crime committed against a person as opposed to a crime committed against a black person? At what point do we actually understand this is a crime committed because of the colour and not it was just a happenstance that person was a different colour? So because of this fact, and because we're getting bombarded with all this kind of stuff, what's happening is the opposite than what we want is happening. So instead of people becoming more tolerant and educated about racism, people are actually putting their backs up and saying, do you know what? No, this ain't racism. That's not racism. Everything's not racism. And we just don't want to hear it anymore. So when true racist incidents take place, it's going to get lost under the bullshit that's been going on over this year. I mean, it's getting so bad now that black folk don't like using the word BAME. That's fine, it's funny. That's offensive now to black folk. And I'm pretty sure the word black is going to be used to say we don't like black. We don't like that word. We don't like this word. You just can't win. You just can't win. And I want to end by saying this. Have we become this weak in 2020? Have we really become this soft in 2020? For a group of people who always talk about overcoming struggle, oppression, all the historical offensive that other people have done against us, how is it that we are looking so fucking weak out here? That every single little microaggression I'll be honest with you, if you're soft in the heart, you'll take these things as a complete offense against you. But if is this how weak we've become? It sounds like it. And 2020 just become one of those years where I'm like, fucking hell, we are looking really bad out here. Thanks for watching.